I hope you guys are having a good day. I'm Dr. Boyce Watkins from Your Black World, the Black Business School. Do me a favor as you come into the chat. Please hit the thumbs up button, share, and subscribe button if you haven't done it yet. I'm going to not be here for too long, but I wanted to chime in on something that I thought was really interesting. It has to do with two guys that I respect quite a bit by the name of Joe Budden and Charlamagne the God. And Charlamagne is a guy who's, really smart. He's on the Breakfast Club. And I've been on the Breakfast Club a few times, and I have always had a good experience with Charlamagne, Envy, and all those Angela Yee and everybody else on the show. And Joe Budden is a guy I don't know. I've never met Joe. I never talked to him. So anything that I say that's incorrect or sounds ignorant, just chalk it up to the fact that I'm speaking based on what I know. And I can only speak in a limited capacity on the things that I don't know in a speculative capacity. So here's the deal. All right. So basically right now, Joe Budden feels, I guess it seemed to me that he felt a little bit disrespected by Charlamagne's analysis of what happened between Joe and Spotify. So basically, Joe Budden has his podcast. It's really popular. He's very good at what he does. It looks like a lot of people listen to his podcast, and I think that's great. And apparently Spotify, he made a deal with Spotify, and they got everything popping, and they did this thing, and it worked for a little while, and then it just, for some reason, it went away. And I guess the reason it went away is because the negotiation failed. The negotiation did not work out, and that led to a lot of speculation from people as to why it happened the way that it did. Now, one of the things I noticed that was really interesting was that when Budden lost his deal with Spotify, when the deal went south, he came out and he said things that really got my attention. He basically talked about Spotify as if they didn't understand his value. I got a sense that he felt that he was wronged. I got a sense that he felt like they were trying to pimp him and exploit him. And believe me, I believe all of that. I mean, we know how white folks are. We know that white folks, we know what they have done throughout history. And sometimes they do it to us. But here's the deal. Here's the thing that I want to kind of process and break down. I think that there are a couple of takeaways that we could pick up from that situation. So first thing I want to say on this is, again, I don't know Joe, but he's obviously smart. He's able to build a great brand and do great things. So he's clearly good at what he does. He's one of the best, right? So there's, in any way, if something sounds like it's being disrespectful to somebody, just know that that's not what it is. But I'm going to be honest. And also I'm a little bit biased because I am friends with Charlamagne. I appreciate what he's done. I loved his interview with Joe Biden and the way he carries himself when it comes to political spaces. His interview with Biden was far better than the interview with Cardi B. Cardi B's interview was bullshit. The interview that Charlamagne did with Biden triggered and set him off. And that's exactly what I wanted to see. I was very happy to see that because they need to be triggered by Black people asking hard questions. But I watched Joe Biden's response to Charlamagne and what Charlamagne said. I read some of what Charlamagne said, where basically he said that basically having value is one thing, but being able to extract that value through negotiation is a whole nother level. There's a whole nother thing that has to occur in terms of who's negotiating on your behalf, who's making sure you get max value. Do they see that value? And if they don't see that value, why don't they see that value, right? You even went back to the whole situation with Monique in Netflix. I had Monique on this channel, and Monique, we all sided with Monique. We all agreed with Monique, and we all like Monique. But Netflix obviously did not like Monique as much as we do, right? And so I find these situations really interesting because I think these are opportunities to learn a little bit about business for all of us. And I'm still piecing things together in my own head as well. So I'm going to try to talk through this in terms of what I'm observing and what I think we can learn. So Charlamagne's point is it had to do with really knowing your value and knowing how to get that value out of a negotiation. Well, that obviously comes from having good people negotiating on your behalf. It comes from the ability to identify opportunities. It comes from the ability to maintain and nurture relationships. It comes from the ability or desire to find common ground. And sometimes people don't want to find common ground with you. Sometimes they just don't like your fucking ass. Excuse my French. Sometimes, seriously, sometimes you could be in a relationship. A relationship is the ultimate negotiation, right? You're like, hey, girl, I love you. Will you be with me? I'm in love with you, girl. Oh, remember that song, right? So you like, I love you. I bought you flowers. I treat you well. So why don't you reciprocate? Well, sometimes she just doesn't like you, right? Sometimes I'm not a tall man, right? And I've literally, when I was younger, I literally remember a couple times a woman would be like, well, I'm sorry, I just don't date men that are under 6 feet tall. And of course that pissed me off, right? It made me, I'm like, you don't know what you're missing. How are you going to pass all this up, right? Well, sometimes they just don't want it. Sometimes it's not a fit. Sometimes they don't know what you got going on. They don't know about all the little secret things that you can do in the bedroom or all the great ways that you can do right by them because they just don't know. They don't know. They don't care, right? There's not a good fit. A lot of times that's what you see in negotiation. When somebody walks away pissed off, like, man, like, damn, they don't see my value. That ain't right. Well, life ain't fair. Life ain't fair. So knowing your value is one thing. Communicating your value is another thing. Whether they properly interpret your communication of your value is another thing. And whether or not they give a fuck is the final thing, right? Like you might tell me, so for example, let's say you're trying to sell me a Rolex watch that's worth $100,000, right? And that Rolex watch, you're going to sell it to me for 40 grand, right? You follow me? So you got a Rolex watch and you're like, Dr. Boyce, hey man, I want to sell you this Rolex watch. And it's a $100,000 watch, right? So the first step is you know the value, right? You know your value. You know that this is a $100,000 watch, right? You can confirm that to me, right? And then you communicate that to me. You say, hey doc, look, let me show you a brochure of watches just like this, where the price tag on these watches is $100,000. So that confirms to you that this watch is worth 100 grand, right? So you know your worth, you know the value of the watch, you have communicated the value of the watch, right? And I have heard you. I'm like, damn, man, that watch that's nice. Woo. And then let's say that I just say, yeah, man, but no thanks. I'm not a watch guy. I don't want a watch. I just bought this watch at the mall for $80 and I'm not a Rolex type of dude. Well, what do you do at that point? What do you do? You say, oh man, you whack, you cheating me, man. You disrespecting me, man. You can't see my value, man. Right? You could do all of that, but really it just wasn't a good fit. Right? I was the wrong customer for your product. It happens all the time in dating. You got those guys that ladies, you know what I'm talking about. When you got those guys that talk real sweet to you, real nice to you, because they're trying to get you to take them home. And then when you say no, thank you, they like, oh, you old raggedy bitch, right? Because their feelings are hurt. They don't like the rejection. Well, sometimes that happens in negotiation and business negotiation. Somebody will know their value, communicate that value, and the person will understand that value. And they'll just say, sorry, we don't value what you value. You value what you're offering more than I value that. Right. We go through it all the time. Maybe there's a beautiful woman that, I got a woman upstairs that I love to the ends of the earth. And I go out. I'm a little bit famous. I'm not as famous as Joe Budden or Charlamagne, nor do I care to be. But I'm a little bit famous and I go places in different cities. People recognize me and I get pretty girls that'll come up and be like, look, hey, I got something that I'd like to offer you. And I'm like, I bet you do, right? And they might communicate that, hey, I'm letting you know that I like you and I have something going. I'm like, yeah, I see. You a pretty woman, but you're not for me because I'm not in your market right now. I'm not interested. That's not going to work for you. Doesn't mean that I don't see the value. It doesn't mean there's a reason to get mad. You shouldn't get offended. You just need to find a different customer for your product. Negotiation is the exact same way. Right. One of the things that really got my attention was when I saw how pissed off Joe Budden was about what happened with Spotify. And I was real curious about it. I was like, wow, I wonder what happened. I wonder how much they offered. I wonder why he feels disrespected. And we know all those possibilities could be real. We know that white companies don't value Black people at their true value. Right. Back in the day, back when I was even interested in signing with a network, they never saw my value. I had a PhD and everything. They didn't see my value, right? I found my own value. I extracted my own value by going directly to the marketplace. Now they can't hire me. Now they probably couldn't pay me enough money to get me to go work for them. They certainly can't pay me enough money to own everything I own. It just wouldn't work, right? Because my perception of my value is far beyond any amount of money they would go pay a Black man. That's just what I believe. Right. But the thing about it is that I remember thinking, I wonder what happened. And I wonder where the disconnect was. I don't doubt that Budden knew what his value was, but I bet you that he estimated his value being here and they might have estimated his value being here. He might have negotiated that value as clearly as he could, properly showed like that was a legitimate valuation. But maybe they said, yeah, but we're just not seeing that, right? So which means either one of two things: either they had a different assessment of his value from the one that he had. Either his valuation was inflated or their valuation was deflated. Either way, they couldn't meet in the middle, or it was just the wrong customer. They just didn't want what he was offering. Maybe they're like, you know what, we got the Obamas or something. I don't know. We don't need a Joe Budden podcast. We like it. We think it's great. Maybe you're great for somebody else, but you're not great for us, right? And so that's what I really saw. And I hope I said that in a way that's not offensive to anybody or saying that anybody's stupid, because I think both of these guys are right. And what I liked about what Budden said on his podcast is I like this conversation. I like the idea of powerful Black men talking about the importance of ownership, talking directly about racism, talking directly about power, because these are two very, very powerful men. And I just respect that immensely. Now, the thing is that I also think with Charlamagne, and this is something I would tell him if we were talking on the phone, is I assume he owns something, right? I'm not going to go through life making a false assumption that he owns absolutely nothing connected to his brand, because I think he's too smart for that. But I think at the end of the day, if you're in Charlamagne's position, ownership has to be the end game for all of this, right? At some point, the brothers, all these brothers that are doing these big things, doing these amazing things, they have to own something, because at the end of the day, how value is perceived and how value is utilized comes down to power and control. It comes down to power. That's why books like Powernomics are so important, because ownership is more. It's about more than how much money you have in the bank. It's really about whose values is this organization going to reflect, right? Spotify is a company that's, I guess, owned by a bunch of investors. They're a publicly traded company. Any of us could buy stock in this company. And I imagine that the people that are deciding what Spotify's values are going to be don't look like us. Spotify is never going to be a Black-owned company that's going to make Black issues its top priority, right? When you guys come in here, first thing I always say to you is what? I always say to you, this is the platform for intelligent Black people. Everybody type hashtag B1 in the chat, because we're Black first. That's what we believe when we come in here. I do that deliberately because I want all the dusty sons of bitches to walk out the door, and I want the real Black people to step up front. And I want Black people that want to be intelligent, because that's the values. Those are the values that are reflected in the organization that's run by Boyce Watkins. Are those the correct values for every situation? Probably not. I don't know, but they're my values, and those are the values that this organization is going to have, right? So when you talk about values, and that's really important, because sometimes what you think is racism really ain't racism. Y'all, we're used to calling everything racism. Everything, there's racism on a box of Cheerios. Oh, the white man don't like me. He must be racist. Michelle Obama said, me and my girls were in line to get ice cream and a lady cut in front of us, so that's racism. No, sometimes a lot of what you think is racism really ain't racism. It's really power. It's really power. And power doesn't really give a shit what race you are most of the time. It becomes what they call correlated with race. There is a correlational relationship, but it's not causal. Because I tell you like this, 99% of the time, a powerful Black man or a powerful Black woman can crush a poor, broken, powerless white person any day of the week. If the Obamas wanted to get somebody killed, they could probably pull it off, because they have power and they have wealth. So I'm not telling you racism doesn't exist, but I'm telling you that a lot of what you see as racism is really a manifestation of wealth and power and values. It is the white person who doesn't hate Black people. They might be liberal. They might be all about Black Lives Matter and all this other stuff. But when they tell you how shit's going to happen in this organization, it's their way or the highway. And at the end of the day, he's going to decide how things are going to happen in his house. It doesn't matter what race you are. When you come in my house, you will follow my rules or the rules of the queen. If you cannot follow those rules, then you have to go. You can think that it's racism if you want to. You can think it's ageism, sexism, homophobia, whatever you want to call it. You can label it however you want. But at the end of the day, it's power. It's power. So what I picked up from this conversation with Joe and Charlamagne, and I hope that they really don't dislike each other as much as it seems, but I don't know. I don't know if they really dislike each other or if they just play on the beef. I have no clue. I don't know. I'll ask them when I talk to them. Is I saw a conversation about power. And I saw Joe, who's a guy who appears to be a very free black man, and I just respect that tremendously. And he was basically speaking about ownership and what it means to own assets and what it means to negotiate when you're an owner. And there's a way owners negotiate that's different from the way employees negotiate. Right. I'm not saying, but I don't believe Charlamagne's a full-time employee. I just don't. I believe Charlamagne probably owns a whole lot of shit. So I think it would be unfair to say he's just an employee. He's just too smart for that. I think he does serve his purpose with his network, but I believe Charlamagne owns things as well. So what I really want you to kind of understand is that when you start playing above the rim and you start playing the power game, the negotiations go a whole lot different. You're not sitting around talking about, well, I don't think he like black people, or that white man told me he don't like me no more. Like that's not really powernomics. That's strugglenomics. The power game is one that says, I don't care if you like me or not. It doesn't matter. My family likes me. My mama likes me. My money likes me. And my team members, my employees, they like me because I pay their bills. The goons I got around me that are protecting me, they like me because I feed the people around me. So I don't really need you to like me because I like myself and I have enough love already. I'm not here for love. I'm here to do business. I'm here to negotiate. I'm here to achieve a goal. I'm here to get something done. I'm here to find common ground. I'm here to go to war, or I'm here to find peace, whatever it is. But at the end of the day, I'm not sitting around balled up with my arms folded, crying and rocking myself to sleep because I'm worried about whether or not a white person likes me or not. That's not what power looks like. That's what oppression looks like. That's what weakness looks like. And I get it if some people feel that way. And I think that you're trained to think that way. But I'm just going to tell you, especially for the men in here, like you can't live like that. You cannot live. You will never get respect from real women if you are a whiny little black man who sits and cries all day about what a white man did to you. The white man is not Superman. He did not come from the fucking planet Krypton. He's not a god. Like, why are you running around here talking about all the things he did to you and the fact that you can't fight back? Do you understand that when you go and all you talk about is how another man harmed you, that you're really celebrating his greatness? Do you understand that? Do you understand that when your woman hears you sit around all day talking about what a white man did to you, a lot of women are going to be like, damn, like, I should be fucking him then. Why am I with you? I should be I'm going to play for the winning team. People play for the winning team. Seriously. So I'm really appealing, especially to the men. You got to understand that the power game is played in a certain way. Women as well. Women, we have a different conversation with that, right? We know women are strong. Black women are great. And you do amazing things. And we can talk about that a little bit later. But I'm saying just in general, I believe that the black community will rise when the black man takes his rightful place on the throne. And the game of powernomics and the game of power, you can play it in a lot of different ways, but it certainly does not start and end with, well, I don't think that Donald Trump likes black people. He don't like me. He don't think I'm beautiful. So I don't think that's not how that just doesn't work. So long story short, it seems like both of these guys are playing the power game, and I think that's tremendous. I really wish there was a way that there was a network outside of Spotify that could be black owned. I would just love to see a group of black men with the power that these guys have, and maybe 3 or 4 more people added in there, some women as well, of course. Just create something that can compete with Spotify. Why not compete directly with Spotify? But here's the thing. You need people that know how to play the game above the rim. Meaning the power game, not the whole, like, do you like black people game? Fuck that. They're never going to like you if you're rich. Just know that when black people become as wealthy as we can become, they're never going to like you. If you build a black Wall Street, they're going to come try to burn it down. Anything you try to accomplish, they're going to try to undermine it. They're never going to stop competing with you, even when you whine and cry all day about how hard it is to be oppressed or how mean they are to you. They're just not. They're never going to stop. So to me, I think if you had a collection of individuals that knew how to play the game above the rim, who knew how to raise capital, who knew how to build relationships and maintain relationships, meaning bring a group together and keep that group together where the egos are put outside the door and you can actually get something done. I don't understand, for the life of me, why a Spotify competitor can't be created out of the black community. And I'm sure things like that are in the works, but those things need capital. You need tens of millions, if not hundreds of millions of dollars to make that thing go. And you need people that are willing to kind of work together, So at the end of the day, I'm gonna tell you, I don't really, if you notice, I don't know if y'all notice this, I've tried to cure myself of the niggatry in my own body the last few years. I've been trying to detox myself from my own niggatry in the fact that I don't spend any time at all fighting with Black people on the internet. I just don't. I'd rather build with you. I'd rather get on the phone with you, work it out, and figure out how we can partner together. I'm not into getting into these little petty back and forth and beefs. And I'm not saying that their beef is petty. That their beef is what it is. I don't even know exactly all the dynamics, but I can say at the end of the day, there's a way you think when you are a builder. There's a way you think when you build relationships. There's a way you think when you build empires. And I just want to encourage you to do that. Okay. So I think so at the end so if you want to know my verdict on Budden versus Charlamagne, they both win. They're both right. They're both brilliant. And hopefully it won't get out of hand where they're trying to destroy each other and undermine each other. But you never know where these things are going to go. I really care. In fact, I care less about them than I care about you. And I wanted to share what I observed in this whole conversation. So with Budden's negotiation with Spotify, one of the rules of negotiation, I'm not a negotiation expert, but I've read a few things through the years. One of the things about negotiation is that negotiation requires you to have what is referred to as a credible threat. A credible threat. I've talked to you guys about this with Black people negotiating with the Democratic Party. The reason they do nothing for you is because you have no credible threat. Meaning a credible threat means that you have the ability to get up and walk away from the table if the negotiation goes south. Like you can literally say, look, here's my number. If you don't pay my number, I'm going to go. Right. And you have the ability to do that without any sort of necessary emotion. You're not walking away like, oh, these motherfuckers, they done did me wrong. You're not doing any of that. You just walk away because you have other options. Right? Options are everything. I talk about stock options a lot, but options are universal. You've always known what it means to have options. And so when you are negotiating with the Democratic Party, they don't respect you because you have no options. You don't even exercise options. You don't even nurture any other options for yourself. You get to the point where you show up hat in hand and you say, Massa, all we got is you. All I got is you, Massa. Well, then they look at you and they say, oh, okay, well, this is a Negro. Negroes deserve nothing because they can't negotiate properly. So therefore, we're going to take their vote and give them nothing in return. So when you negotiate for wealth or you're negotiating for power or you're negotiating a business deal, you cannot do that. You must have what they call a credible threat, the ability to walk away and say, thank you for your consideration. I'm going to take my podcast and I'm going to go and deal with this person over here, or I'm going to go over here and do something different, right? Maybe I'll go directly to the consumer myself, whatever the case may be. And if you don't have that, if you don't have those credible threats to walk away, meaning that you can't negotiate to the point where you're okay walking away, then what will happen is that you'll end up pissed off. Right. You're supposed to get to the point where you're what they call indifferent. Indifferent means that I have picked a price with you. Only smart people are going to get it. Dumb motherfuckers won't understand shit that what I'm talking about. So if you're a dumb motherfucker in the chat saying dumb motherfucker shit, just know you've exposed yourself as a dumbass. So I saw a couple of dumb comments. I ain't worried about that shit. We got stupid people in the community. I'm not here to talk to dumb people. I want to talk to people that want to be smart. So here's the deal. This is all written out in theory. This is all part of what they call game theory in economics. In game theory, it says you negotiate to the point where you're what they call indifferent. That's where you've picked a price where you say, okay, if they take the deal, I'll take it. But if they don't take the deal, I'll be just as happy as if they took the deal. Indifference means like I can stay or I can go. I'm happy either way. Now, if you haven't achieved indifference, that means you need to lower your price. Meaning, so for example, if I talk to my girl and I'm like, if you don't cook the chicken right, I'm gonna walk the fuck up out. I'm gonna walk up out of here for good. I'm out. I'm gone. Right? What you're doing is you're negotiating. You're giving her an ultimatum saying you better cook the chicken right or I'm gonna leave forever. Right? Well, you should only say that if you're serious. You only pull out the gun if you're okay with using the gun. You don't pull out the gun if you're scared to squeeze the trigger. Right? So what if she says, okay, fine, well then go. Get your ass up out of here. Right? and then you leave, right? Or maybe you back down and you say, oh, I'm sorry, baby. You either do that or you walk out the door and you pissed. You like, damn, she ain't right. She abused me. She disrespected me. She told me to leave it all over chicken, right? Well, then that means you didn't negotiate properly. You shouldn't have been trying to go to the brink over chicken. You shouldn't have been pulling out the gun if you scared to squeeze the damn trigger. The way you negotiate properly is you think about it and you say, okay, I'm about to pull out this gun. I'm about to give her an ultimatum because this chicken thing's really bothering me. And so this can go one of two ways. Either she can give me what I want or she could tell me to get the fuck out. How would I feel if she gave me what I wanted? Do I really want to still even be in this relationship? Yeah, it's okay. I will be in this relationship, but only if I get good chicken, right? And then you say, well, but what if she says, get out? Am I really ready to walk out that damn door? And if you're not ready to walk out the door, then you shouldn't take it there, right? Because if you take it there and you're not ready to pursue it, then basically you're bluffing. And sometimes people call your bluff. You're talking to a poker player, by the way. I play poker, and believe me, these are the decisions you make. Anybody here that plays poker understands what I'm talking about. When you bluff, you better be ready for whatever comes. If you're not ready for whatever comes, then get out of the damn game. Do not play a game that is above your pay grade. Do not play a game that you're not ready to play. And that's what happens sometimes when we negotiate. So, again, when I saw that Budden was upset about what Spotify did, to be real with you, to be honest with you, complete respect to Joe. And I don't even know if Joe knows me or not. I don't know. I know Charlamagne, but I don't know Joe. But I like him. I think he's good at what he does. But when you walk away from the table and the first thing you're talking about is, oh, they did me wrong, or they're oppressing, and this, that, and the other, that's a contradiction to your empowered disposition. Like, you're a powerful man, right? You're a powerful, you got a powerful platform. So when you walk away saying that you were oppressed, that tells me that something wasn't quite right. Maybe the number you asked for was bigger than the number that they were prepared to pay for what you had to offer. And I guess you can offer that number. You could throw out the big number. And then when they say no, maybe it's a strategy to go back and talk shit about Spotify. Maybe that could all be considered part of the strategy. But if you look at it on its surface to the point where he's really, truly upset that they could not work out terms, that almost sounds like somebody in a relationship who made an ultimatum. And then the person said, okay, so you're giving me a choice. So you're telling me that either I do this or you're going to leave. Okay, I decided that I'm okay with you leaving, right? Then again, if the ultimatum was appropriate, then I should be like, okay, no problem, cool. I wish you the best. Good luck. You're a very pretty lady. I wish you luck with your life. I got a girl down the street that looks just as good that I'm gonna go hang out with her, right? Like that's really how negotiation is supposed to work. That's what they talk about when they talk about achieving indifference. So I hope this makes sense. Give me a yes or no if this makes sense. I know I might be getting too academic-y, but this is all the stuff, in case you're wondering what I did with my 20s in graduate school. We were studying stuff like this. And I think it's really fascinating because you see it happening all the time. And the thing is that those who can think on a higher level, or at least try to think on a higher level, are the people who typically win. They're the people who tend to have the power, because those are the people who tend to know what they want. They know what they're willing to invest to get what they want. They know what they're willing to walk away from. And you're prepared for all the possibilities, and you're not walking around with this oppression talk. Like, I don't do oppression. I don't like oppression talk. That's just not fun for me. It doesn't make me feel powerful. It makes me feel like I'm kind of mad. Like maybe I should have got on my knees it's so that I could get what I wanted, because I can't survive on my own. And I think Budden can. I think he's going to be just fine. He's a multimillionaire. God bless him. But man, fuck Spotify. That's my point. Like just fuck them. Like it didn't work out. You wanted this much. They only offer you that much. Well, then you just walk away. You say, okay, you know what, Spotify, it was cool. We did some things. That's not my place. I'm out. Right. I really think that makes more sense. That's my 2 cents. I'm sure people are gonna like it or love it, like it or love it. That's what I think about it. All right, guys, I'm about to go. Hit the thumbs up button, hit the share button, hit the subscribe button. Thank you for listening. I appreciate you very much. And make sure you subscribe. If you're interested in financial stuff, subscribe to the Black Financial Channel too. You can follow the Black Financial Channel on Instagram. We talk about financial stuff all day, every day, all the time. And my goal is to give you things that will support you in your own journey. Because at the end of the day, it's not about us and us running our mouths. It's really about you getting what you need. So I appreciate you guys hanging out. So take care. Have a good day. Love you. See you soon. Peace.